Hey, what's crack-a-lackin' challengers? Welcome back to a brand new video, and I actually really don't know how to start this one. Stay to the end of the video. This is going to be kind of a big announcement that I really want to have some feedback, and you are actually going to be helping me with my decision. If you haven't noticed, over the past couple weeks, months, I've been kind of doing some things different. My videos have not just strictly been on fish, they've been on some terrestrial animals such as my tortoise, my millipedes, my land snails, and I've gotten really interested in keeping and caring for those animals. So I know a lot of my viewers have subscribed because of my aquariums and my fish tanks and stuff, and you may not be completely interested in those other types of videos, but it's something that I'm kind of passionate about. One thing that you might see, I actually rescaped my 60-gallon aquarium, as you can see. I made a video about Hydra, which is a freshwater polyp that infected this aquarium, and how I got rid of it. And you might have seen how the aquarium looked a little bit different. I added the driftwood, I got new plants from H2O Plants. While I was doing it, I was like, dang, this actually looks kind of good. And of course the plants melted because they were shipped and they need to adapt to my water conditions, but some of them are already doing really well. But I sat back, and I have a beanbag chair over there on my desk and stuff, so I spent quite a bit of time in the basement in the fish room, and I was like, is that really what I should be doing with this aquarium? I just had that idea in the back of my head, and I've been actually watching a lot of videos on YouTube. Of course, who hasn't been during quarantine? But two channels, I guess, that I've been watching, I can't even think about the name of one of them. I'll have a link for both of them down below. This guy in Europe, he actually creates terrariums, which are similar to terrariums, but they're more like specific to a special area of the world or different species of animals. But it's similar to terrariums, and basically what he had was massive empty aquariums filled with insects like ants, termites, millipedes, centipedes, salamanders, frogs, tons of different random animals, and they were all enclosed in one little habitat. These habitats could be made to represent different parts of the world based on the species of the animal that you're keeping. So if you were trying to represent like the Amazon rainforest, you could have species of animals that come from the rainforest, or if you were trying to represent a dry land species, you could have like dryland insects or other things in dryland plants. And that idea was just like mind-boggling, because I've seen people do that with aquariums, but the fact that you can have something similar to that in a terrarium style, I was like, that's actually kind of cool. And then there's this other YouTuber named Sherpa Designs. I'm sure you've seen his videos. I've been actually a fan for a long time with his terrarium scapes, and the way he can turn like random things into beautiful looking terrariums with different types of plants, that kind of intrigued me into possibly doing something like that. And while I was watching those videos, I had that idea that maybe I should do something different with this aquarium in the back of my mind, and I was just thinking, what if I actually rescape this entire aquarium and turn it into a terrarium? Don't hit the dislike video if you're watching this right now. I know a lot of my viewers like to fish, but like, it would be really cool if this turned into a terrarium. So the way I have my basement set up is my 90-gallon is all the way in the back, and then on the other sides I have two 10-gallons, a 20-gallon, and then this 60-gallon aquarium. And it's really nice because you can stand in the middle and just like look all the way around. But one very interesting thing about this aquarium in particular is the fact that you basically see 360 degrees around it. You can look at the aquarium from over here, you can also look at it from this angle, and then you can also look at it from this side. So it's like a panoramic terrarium, and I also added like a nice piece of wood down here, so it's like kind of finished. And like the fact that you can look all the way around poses a big challenge, but also a big opportunity. Instead of just scaping your aquarium to be able to look at it from one angle, you're actually able to look at it from multiple sides. And that's gonna be so cool if I turn it into a terrarium, because I'll be able to see different insects in all the corners of this possible terrarium. And let me show you my design for it. So I already did scape this aquarium, and the design I have for it right now is I have a large piece of driftwood, and then a smaller piece of driftwood that looks like a fallen branch or fallen tree, as well as some rocks and then some plants. So my idea is that I would keep the driftwood and the rocks in this terrarium. I don't even know if I should call it a terrarium or an aquarium. I'm just gonna refer to it as terrarium from now on, I guess, possibly. I want to vote for this, but I would keep that, and I'd add a layer of topsoil and some other rocks to act as something called a false bottom. And that's basically where extra water will pool and it won't actually create mold or other things in the soil. And this is actually my rough idea of what I want it to look like. So as you can see, I still have the driftwood, but I feel like if I were to put some live moss and tons of other tropical plants, it would look really, really cool. And one thing that I do want to do is, if I turn this into a tropical terrarium, I'd want to have something like a rain system. So I'd have like water tubing lined around the entire edge of this tank, and by pressing a button it'll force water jets to shoot out water droplets all over, so it'll look like it's actually raining, and I think that would be so cool. I might even have little strobe lights in here to imitate like a thunderstorm, even like speakers like it, so that would be so awesome. I know that's like a big deal and a lot of work, but I think it'd be worth it. I hope you guys are on board with this. I mean, okay, so right now, comment what you think about that idea, because I think it would be really cool. Right after this, I'm going to talk about the possible stocking ideas, and another thing thing I was considering doing, so comment those down below right now. Another thing that I was thinking about doing is something called a Terrarium, and that's where it's half water, half land. So using like an acrylic block or something, I could actually glue it in and then have this part have water in it, and then the rest would have land. I was considering that option, but I honestly feel like I just want to have a complete terrarium. Let me know what you think down below. Now, the stocking ideas, we have a lot of potential. If you know, I do have a leopard gecko and also a tortoise, but those guys prefer drier and non-humid climates, so they can't really go in here, unfortunately, because I do want it to be more humid. But what I am considering getting is, of course, tons of land snails, but possibly get some more millipedes, even like maybe a spider or two, definitely some isopods. I was thinking about growing an ant colony in here. If you remember, I did catch some queen ants, but unfortunately they did die. I am possibly going to be getting another one though. I do have kind of like a plug for getting ants, so that could be a possibility. I was also thinking about getting some sort of geckos, like geckos that prefer more of the rainforest, possibly a crested gecko, or possibly a smaller, more common species like a Mediterranean gecko or house gecko. Those are often found in Florida, but of course they are adorable. So those are my ideas, and I could go to like Home Depot, Lowe's, find some tropical plants, put them in here, have vines and other plants growing in here, and I think it would add such a nice dynamic to the basement and to the fish room. It wouldn't even be a fish room, it'd be like an animal kingdom. But like, I think it'd be so cool to have this crystal clear and have tons of random plants growing, and then able to look at all my fish tanks. It would just add such a different dynamic. My original plan for this aquarium was to turn it into a larger betta fish sorority. I was thinking about getting like 15 betta fish, but I think what I'd do with all the stockings in this aquarium is move it to my 20-gallon, have a mini 20-gallon betta fish sorority, move the plants and other things into my other aquariums, and it would be a lot of work, but I think it would be worth it. I am up to the challenge. Another really cool thing is for any of the heating or other equipment I need for the terrarium, I can keep it all the way back here. I left a little bit of a space for the filter in this aquarium when I was designing this little stand, so that's why there's that space back there. So it'll be great for the terrarium, and I could have different supplies, different feeding materials, even maybe like a separate breeding area where I could possibly breed some animals or other things. I don't know. My mind is like racing because this could be such a good idea, and I've wanted to share this with people for so long, and hopefully I'm not crazy, and hopefully this actually makes sense. I believe this light should be good enough for growing those land plants. If not, I can always upgrade it to like a halogen type light. That might be better at growing, but I don't know. I would be new to this, and unfortunately I have not been able to find that much research on them. People do keep terrariums a lot, but to find out specific information on the type of animals that I want to keep, it's kind of hard. Unfortunately, millipedes and those snails that I keep aren't really in the pet trade that much. They are starting to come in more and more, but there's not a huge amount of info for them. So a lot of this would be trial and error, and it would be really easy to get like an infection or some sort of parasite in the terrarium, so I need to make sure I watch for that. But I think if I had like a crested gecko even, I don't know if you can keep them in pairs, or I was also thinking about a tree frog, or I think it's like a giant red-eyed tree frog, something like that. I think that would be so cool. And this is a large space. Like there's a lot of space, especially vertically. So that's why I think having something that can climb on the glass would be really nice. Let me know your ideas down below. I'm going to be reading every single comment. So even if you comment hi, I'll be replying. So comment down below, and also share this video if you have any friends that know how to take care of terrariums and other stuff. But let me show you guys my tortoise before I end this video. I actually haven't came up with a name for her yet. I've just been calling her Hermans because that's her species, a Hermans tortoise. And my mom still needs to react to her. I'll be doing a video like that on my vlog channel, so check it out down below or in an iCard. But let me take you off the tripod and we'll look at the tortoise. So one thing I've noticed about them is that they eat a lot. She has gone through so much food, and you can see she's actually sleeping right now, getting some heat rays. But I've been feeding her every single day. As you can see, her enclosure is looking good. I do need to clean her water bowl. One thing I do have is this really nice spray bottle, and I use it to mist down the terrarium, because even though she is a desert species tortoise, she does require a high humidity while she's growing up. Oh, now she's back to eating. Dude, that is beautiful, bro. Hit the like button if you haven't already. Dude, she is my favorite. But she eats so much. Okay, enough of that cuteness. Alright guys, that is going to be it for the video. Make sure you hit the like button and subscribe button if you haven't already. I'll catch you on the next one. Also check out my Instagram at @JamesMorelan or at challenge.thewild. I'll see you in the next one. Peace. Wapa.